So here we are, the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. Dad has traded in his two MGs on this amazingly gorgeous 2019 Ford Mustang 5-litre GT. Now I know there'll be literally several of you watching this who will think, hang on a minute, I'm 84 years old. Is this a good choice? Let's find out. Now in terms of specification, you're probably thinking, well, is this the spec for me? Well, look at it. It is flipping gorgeous. What more do you need to know? This color just shines in the sun, catches all the curves of the bodywork. It is absolutely spectacular. Don't you agree? Now, when Dad was looking for a replacement car for his MGs, he definitely wanted an American car, and he was quite keen on getting a Corvette, only to find that, obviously Corvettes were never officially imported into South Africa. They're all left-hand drive, obviously, and they're quite few and far between here. And it also means that there's no manufacturer support for Corvettes here. So he had a look at a broader search, and when he spotted this car, to be honest, it was the color that did it, but it's something that can be serviced by your local Ford dealer. So anything goes wrong, anything needs doing, yeah, you just pop it into your Ford dealer and it's all sorted out. So in terms of a no fuss special car or toy to have, well, that's a pretty good deal, I think. And of course it's right-hand drive, so available in manual and automatic. So this is a 2019, it's a 5-litre V8, more power than you could ever want, limited top speed of 160 odd miles per hour, 4.8 seconds, 0 to 60, and well, I must admit, it's a very good spec. It's not over-spec, it doesn't have the Magna Ride, it's got a 6-speed auto, and in case you're tempted to tick that box for black wheels, don't do it, man. You'll regret it. Look how fantastic this looks with the silver wheels. Comes with Brembo brakes as standard, but this car with black wheels would look awful. Fortunately, Dad has a phobia for black wheels, and therefore this car jumped out at him, not only because it's his favorite color, but also because it very rarely has silver wheels. Most Mustangs in South Africa and the UK seem to have black wheels. Just don't get it. You should also know that this is quite a bit bigger than the Mustangs that you remember from 1965 onwards. It is quite a long car, but no longer than any normal sedan. It is quite wide, however, so bear that in mind. And being a two-door, the doors open really wide, so factor that in depending on how wide your garage is. Back end of the car, very sexy, nice curves in the bodywork. And I think this paint color really accentuates that. You've got the throwback to the original Mustang in the style of the rear lights. Nice and neat and clean at the back. Very nice. Yeah, very nice. You've got your parking sensors down below here and also on the side. So you get a good idea if you're getting too close to anything. From a practicality perspective, the boot is fairly sizable. Plenty of space there, and let's face it, you'll have the coolest looking car at your church bazaar or at the local car park for your supermarket. Yeah, that's worth it. Even if you do a full shop and there's not enough space, you'll just have to come back and drive your Mustang again. One little thing to bear in mind is that modern cars no longer come with spare wheels, and the Mustang is no different. So underneath this little cover here is a massive hole. But the massive hole does look like it is big enough to take a wheel. So I'm sure you'll be able to get a spare should you need one. Otherwise, there's some inflatable gooey stuff. But yeah, you would just phone your roadside rescue, let's be honest, if you ever had a puncture. And getting into the business end here is quite straightforward. But I must admit the bonnet is pretty heavy. Very neat engine bay, and the engine is not too hidden away either. You know, there's just that small plastic thing on the top, but actually it's all there. Nice big 5-litre V8, very neatly stuck in there. Looks cool. It's quite a heavy bonnet, so be warned. So So the wheels are 19-inch silver wheels, very important. Two 55 4019s in the front and two 75 4019s at the rear. Pirelli's P0s in this case. You have beautiful retro looks inside with those chrome bezels, little screen in the middle. You can see the automatic shifter there, retro switches on the dashboard, a little bit of bling when you start it up to see the Mustang. Very comfy seats, lots of adjustment. You have adjustment up and down, forward or back here, electrically operated. Very comfortable for driver and passenger. Less so for your passengers, because behind here, although it's a 2+2, it is a very, very, shall we say, stingy 2+2. You can get in, you can fit in there just about if people in front of you move their seats forward, but getting out again is an absolute flipping mission. Fortunately, being 84 years old, you're very unlikely to have small children or other adults that want to travel with you. So I think you're more likely to have a dog. And in that case, the Mustang is a perfect size for a dog. And the agility of a dog allows them to get in and out, because as an adult human being trying to get out of here is extremely undignified. And with restricted mobility, what's it like getting in and out of? Well, it's quite straightforward, really. Nice and comfortable. Not a long reach for the seatbelt. Yeah, very accessible for what it is. If you think of the MGs that this car replaced, you had to be a bit of a contortionist even when you were younger to get in and out. Whereas now, you can just flop in and out, which I think is perfect for any 84-year-old. This car also has a keyless entry and start, so as long as you have the key in your pocket, the driver door opens, you climb inside, and you press the brake pedal, and then the start engine. Oh yeah, that does sound nice. And there's a handy warning to say the driver's door is open, and the vehicle is in fact on. There are some theatrics here on the screen, just to remind you that you are not in some crappy little pension mobile. You're in fact in a Mustang. Not much you need to know here, because let's face it, you're going to set it and forget it. You have some driving options along the bottom here. You have steering effort. You have traction control and emergency flashes. On the left is your mode button, and you can toggle between normal, sport plus, race, and snow, which it's never ever snowed here in Langebaan, but let's face it, you're just going to leave it in normal. Steering level, the button is the next switch here, and your options are normal, sport, comfort. Let's face it, you're going to leave it on comfort. And even on comfort, there is a fair amount of heft to the steering wheel. It's not super lightweight American style, so it's actually quite a good feel to leave it in comfort. There is some handy storage here in the center, quite a nice deep little bin here, which just clips shut and nice and soft. And for your afternoon port will fit in there nicely. And yeah, overall the dashboard's got a fantastic retro yet modern feel. Nice retro style gauges, aluminium type plastic here, a little throwback to Mustangs of yore, 1964, and very easy to use and sizable cubbyhole. In the center console you have a USB socket. Be sure to ask your grandkids what that's used for, as well as a 12-volt socket for electrical items. Just below the toggle switches here on the dashboard we have another USB point here. Check with your grandkids on that one. And a cigarette lighter. Your grandkids won't know what that's for. We've got a good adjustment here on the steering column as well. You just pull this little lever underneath here, and yeah, you're bound to find a good spot. I think that's probably about it for me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now on the steering wheel here you have manual shift paddles where you can shift the automatic transmission manually. But here's a top tip for you if you are someone who likes to shift manually, and that is get a 6-speed manual. There is one more thing that I did not mention before, and that we have heated and cooled seats. Oh yeah, oh that is good. Ooh, yes. Oh, 25 degrees today, pretty warm, and yeah, I can tell you that my derriere is cooling down very nicely. Oh, isn't technology amazing? Also have quite a good rear view reverse camera, so it's quite easy to reverse and maneuver. Not the greatest resolution, but you just have to avoid hitting things, so for that it works well. Yeah, it does sound good. It drives very smoothly. That automatic gearbox is surprisingly responsive. Even when you override it, it responds very well. Often with dual clutch gearboxes, if you put the foot down hard, it takes a bit of a moment to decide which gear you need, whereas this is almost instant. Yeah, it's fantastic. Now the Mustang also comes with a limited slip rear differential, so if you do put your foot down in slightly wet or slippery conditions, you still get pretty good traction from that limited slip differential. Now I'd be lying to you if I told you that this was a plush ride. It's fairly firm, I would say. This is not your average American waft mobile. This car is not fitted with the Magna Ride option. This is passive suspension, and I would call it relatively firm. It's still comfortable because you have quite a bit of padding in the seats, but it's firm enough to remind you that you're actually in quite a sporting automobile. And I think that's what makes the Mustang really great. It's this great cruiser. It's a GT, and it has a sporty feel to it. Even though it weighs 1.7 tons, that's probably the only negative I have, is that you can sometimes feel it's a fairly heavy car. But the engine is surprisingly responsive. There's plenty of power. You'll never ever have to worry about not having enough power. And that's really what a car's all about. It's everything you could possibly need and more, and well, it's a pretty cool looking thing. Let's go for a spin. Good sound inside the cabin as well. Now if I was on the sport option, what that would do is it would give me slightly heavier steering. It would make the engine a little bit more responsive, and it would hold the gears for longer before changing. But why would you do that? On the heel here, let's floor it, and you're gone. Nice. One thing to remember is that the indicator stalk is on the right hand side, like Japanese cars. I automatically try and indicate on the left, and yeah, I switch the windscreen wipers on every time, so it takes a bit of getting used to just to use the right hand stalk. Many of you will not have that problem, but as I said, I normally drive a car that has the indicators on the left, so yeah, just takes getting used to on the right. Being a torque converter automatic gearbox, what I do like is that initial pull away, there's no jerkiness. Sometimes, or in fact most cases, dual clutch gearboxes tend to give you a little bit of a jerkiness as you're pulling away from a standstill, whereas the torque converter still flattens out that jerkiness. Well, as we look down over that fantastic view of Langebaan with all the kite surfers in the distance there, I hope you enjoyed that little review of the Ford Mustang, a 2019 Ford Mustang 5-litre GT, most importantly with silver wheels. I didn't realize it at first, but that's actually quite a rare thing. Everyone seems to go for the black wheels. What a crazy world that we're living in. I thought the original new Mustang looked kind of cool, but not that cool, still a bit boxy, but this has got enough shape, enough curve, enough crease. The front is less square than that original, and of course, being in right-hand drive, well, what could be better than a modern right-hand drive Mustang? The more I look at the car, the more I really love the shape, and that color is just so deep and rich. I've seen several white Mustangs around. I've seen blue, but wow, this is definitely the color of choice. If you can find one in this color, and I've seen one in this color with a black stripe, which didn't look as nice. The white stripe definitely gives it a bit of sort of bling, but yeah, what a fantastic color. So to all you 84-year-olds out there, be more like my dad and just go out and get one of these, because it'll make you feel young, it'll make you look young, and life's too short not to have one. So yeah, give it the Automotive Grace thumbs up for this important consumer advice. And to all you out there, you are very welcome, and please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, if there's anything that I haven't covered in this video about the Mustang, let me know and I'll happily respond to you in the comments. Before I get blown away, it's cheerio from Langebaan and this beautiful Mustang. Oops. Sorry, Dad. Here at the business end, it's a bit of wiggling involved. Okay, it's not so easy. On it is pretty heavy, so